Well, good morning and welcome to the Battleship Iowa. USS Iowa is a place where we don't just mark history, but a place where we continue to make history. And I want to start by thanking the men and women who make this ship a living, breathing testament to American democracy, the history of this nation, and to all the work that we have done in this country. And what an incredible way to kick off this press conference with that flyover and landing. Let's give a round of applause. Maybe the pilots will hear us. I doubt it, but at least they can see us over here. There, I got a thumbs up back. You know, Angelenos are folks who love the United States military, who have for a long time given more people to support this nation than any other city, including New York City in the United States of America. And we are honored that Fleet Week is touching down right here in LA, pulling into port, and showing Angelenos what their nation is all about. This Labor Day weekend, as people look to take some last time off at the very end of the summer, we have a chance for us to bring families and friends here to San Pedro and this great working harbor that is also part of America's democracy, the work that we do to move America's goods, to engage in international trade, to support our local economy, to help our working men and women support their families. But I want to thank the leaders who make this annual tradition now in its fourth year, building on the many years of success of Navy days before that, possible. First of all, of course, the United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, and the United States Coast Guard. We are so pleased to have Rear Admiral Alvin Holsey, the commander of Carrier Strike Group 1, United States Navy, Rear Admiral Bet Bolivar, who's the commander of Southwest Region, U.S. Navy as well. Gene Soroka, we have Admiral Gautier as well from our United States Coast Guard. Gene Soroka, the executive director of the Port of Los Angeles, the busiest port in the Western Hemisphere, and as you can see, breaking records again, but I think that's in anticipation of tariffs more than anything else. But leaders on our Board of Harbor Commissioners that are here, Jamie Lee, Diane Middleton, and Lucia Moreno Linares, the terrific trio of women who, I think there's a couple guys on the board too, but the three women show up and do the work and lead. Members of the USO, the Navy League, and the USS Iowa, and of course the Fleet Week Foundation, in particular its Leadership Council and Board of Directors. We could not do this without you. And Fleet Week sponsors who make sure this event is a success, and the entire Port of Los Angeles team. I'm also pleased to have two of our finest law enforcement officials in the United States of America, Chiefs Moore and Gazy, who are here, Los Angeles Police Department and the Port Police, representatives of the fire department, our city departments that are here, and everybody else who has made this a huge success. Look, as mayor, as a veteran, as a Navy man myself, it's great to see so many shipmates here and to see this commitment that Los Angeles has built. My administration is full of veterans from folks I've served alongside, like my deputy mayor, Jeff Gorell, who continues to serve, recently retired Captain Larry Vasquez, who leads our Office of Military and Veterans Affairs, and so many other men and women who really do show us it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter what your last name is, it doesn't matter the color of your skin or your gender. If you step up to serve, we are all part of a single nation. It is one of the last pieces in these divisive times that actually unites this nation, and a good reminder for all of us of what pulls us together. And this week we have a chance to not just look at pictures on the internet or movies and TV shows on your Netflix queue, but to actually in three dimensions meet the men and women, the flesh and blood that comprise this force. We are proud of all the equipment we have, the incredible engineers that have given us vehicles and ships and planes and helicopters, but we know that a fighting force is made up of the people, not the budgets, not the programs, not the equipment, not even the training, but the human beings, their character, their courage, and their commitment. And so a chance to meet the sailors, the Marines, members of the Coast Guard who defend our freedom and who keep us safe is what this week is all about. I would argue there's no better home for Fleet Week because Los Angeles is a city that knows when our active duty military personnel and veterans need us, we will be there. We offer them something deeper and more lasting than just saying thank you for your service. As much as any of us who have ever worn the uniform appreciate that, we know what is more meaningful is the support you can give to families, the support you can give to transitioning veterans, the support that we can give to make sure no veteran sleeps on our street, is unemployed, doesn't have housing, or is struggling with depression or other maladies. And we do everything that we can in this city to ensure that everyone who fought for this country comes home to a good job, to financial security, and a roof over our heads. I'm very proud that in 2013, when we stood up this new Office of Military and Veterans Affairs, we took the challenge of then First Lady Michelle Obama to end veterans homelessness. And there is no city that has now housed more homeless veterans than Los Angeles, reducing by 80%. And that's more than 10,000 flesh and blood, real human beings that we have brought home through the efforts of this city, the county, our state and federal partners. That's why we also launched the 10,000 strong Veterans Hiring Initiative. And people said that goal would be too high, but I said we should be able to ensure that folks coming back from military service would be able to go into good middle-class careers, be able to manage that transition that is a different kind of structure than what we're used to in the military. And we haven't just met that goal, we're now exceeding it, and we haven't slowed down. And we've also made sure that we've built 1,000 units of supportive housing for veterans that are either open or in the pipeline as well. So that work is critical. And as we celebrate seeing our active members, we want them to know that Los Angeles is a great place to retire. So when you're done with your service, come to LA, be a part of this amazing place. When I'm on this ship, I'm reminded of my own family story. My grandfather, who was born in Mexico, carried over the border as a 1-year-old when his father was killed in the Mexican Revolution. He didn't become a citizen until he volunteered in World War II to serve in the Pacific Theater. And as a result of that, I'm here today. I can't imagine him returning home to anything less than the opportunities that he was given. The GI benefits that allowed him to buy a house with my grandmother, allowed him to learn a trade and become a union member as a union barber. Those things made it possible for me to be here today, and I know everybody on this ship has a story just like that, of the opportunities that military service has given somebody in our family to step up a little bit more. So Fleet Week's festivities are going to be full of fun. Really encourage those who are coming down to explore the neighborhoods around here in Wilmington and San Pedro. I think there's another city a little bit to the south of us too. Is it Long Beach? Is that what it is? But after you're done spending some good time here, you can explore all around really these harbor communities and see the men and women that support this port and who make it work. This Friday, August 30th, we will kick things off, showcase active military ships, equipment, and live entertainment. And I encourage Angelinos to go to LAFleetweek.com for more information on activities, tours, and events. But this event is so much more than just a celebration of our country's military strength. It's about saluting those men and women who wear the uniform, our shared vision of a community that always honors our finest, and reaffirming our sacred commitment to our democracy and to the men and women who serve us every single day to protect that democracy as well. Our liberties we prize, our rights we will maintain. That is the motto of this mighty battleship, one that carried Franklin Delano Roosevelt over to meetings with the other Allied leaders. This is a mission of the sailors, the Marines, and members of the Coast Guard that are coming into port this weekend. And I ask each and every one of you just to take a moment in our busy, run-on sentences of lives to meet the remarkable men and women who serve and who sacrifice on our behalf. Thank them for their service, ask them what they need, hear their stories, and learn something about your nation. With that, it's now my honor to introduce, and I'll come back, I know we've got some Spanish language media, I'll come back for some Spanish words as well. But it's now my honor to introduce a highly decorated leader whose service to our country is an example for us all. Please join me in welcoming Commander of the United States Navy Carrier Strike Group 1, Rear Admiral Alvin Olson.
Good morning. I'm Rear Admiral Alvin Halsey, Commander of Carrier Strike Group 1, and this is going to be a great event. We're very excited to be here, and such a warm welcome, Mayor, so really appreciate that as well. As the Mayor said, a lot of great comments, and so thank you first, Mayor, for your leadership, and also to the City of Los Angeles for being our host. I certainly hope that everyone will get down to the Port of Los Angeles and come out and meet our sailors, our Marines, our Coast Guardmen, and hear their stories. It's a great opportunity to get out there and do that, and there's so many awesome events that we have planned that will give them an opportunity to kind of share who they are. And I tell you, as you look at the nice equipment, look past that for a second and look in the eyes of our sailors, our Marines, our Coast Guardmen, and just take that in for a second. And I'll share this with you. I've said it over the years. Every sailor has a story. That unique story is what brought them to our Navy. And that story makes our country stronger, our nation stronger. So again, come out, hear their stories. We're delighted to be here. Look forward to hearing your questions. And again, come hear their stories. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Admiral. There's an old saying in politics that short speeches win elections, so I'm voting for you over the guy who went before you. But next, I'd like to turn it over to our Executive Director of the Port of Los Angeles. Gene Soroka has been a veteran himself of this industry in the private sector, being able to move ships, being able to move cargo, being able to make international commerce, which is the lifeblood of so many of our economies, work. And he has brought a focus, both community and commerce, and our environmental responsibility, and his stewardship has been second to none. We are so pleased to have his leadership. I'd like to welcome him as he welcomes this important week to our port. Gene.
Thank you and good morning. On behalf of the Los Angeles Harbor Commission, led by President Jamie Lee, welcome to LA Fleet Week 2019, and a special welcome to the United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, and United States Coast Guard here today in Los Angeles. The U.S. Navy is one of our nation's greatest military assets, and it was created in part to ensure the safe flow of seaborne commerce between America and the world. In these uncertain times, with economic headwinds, we know that we can recognize the Navy as a constant guardian of America's security for more than 243 years now and counting. To that end, we are honored to welcome everyone back to America's port, the Western Hemisphere's largest gateway for global trade. And this event was made possible through the single-minded and unwavering support of our Mayor, Eric Garcetti, and his team, with the meticulous coordination between numerous agencies, city, county, state, and federal, that have helped us bring again for the fourth year in a row Fleet Week here to Los Angeles. I also want to recognize the Harbor Commission for their constant work on policy that allows us to open up this gateway to our community and visitors throughout the country. I also want to welcome for the first time the Carrier Strike Group 1, led by Admiral Halsey. We appreciate your support in the command's leadership, and also to Ben Bolivar, Commander of the Navy Region Southwest. Thank you all for everything you do, and we'll see again this year so many servicemen and women in our community, and we'll welcome them with open arms and great support. And trust me, I think this year we will exceed your expectations for 2019. So many people to thank as well, including our port staff, port police, Los Angeles police, our first responders at every level. The Battleship Iowa, the Fleet Week Foundation team, which has done so much work and will start again next Tuesday for Fleet Week 2020. We have also had more than 100 community groups, volunteers, and Fleet Week ambassadors that will be working with us again this year, and our debt of gratitude can never be repaid to you. Thank you very much. And of course, the Bob Hope USO, which is omnipresent in all the activities we have here at Fleet Week and at our Los Angeles World Airports on a daily basis. Thank you again. This was truly an all-hands-on-deck effort, and we hope everyone enjoys the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. I'm going to ask Admiral Peter Gautier to come up as well. He's the commander of 11th District for the Coast Guard. Whenever we do Navy things, we always have our great colleagues from the Coast Guard come stand with us, but they never get to speak. So this is a chance to actually have you come forward. We work more closely probably with the Coast Guard than any other part of our defense forces in the Port of Los Angeles. We are so grateful for the courage of the men and women of the Coast Guard, and we really day to day see you not just during this week, but we know for 52 weeks a year, and we're so grateful for you keeping us safe and the work that you do. Admiral?
Mayor Garcetti, thank you very much for that warm welcome, and thanks very much on behalf of the community here in LA for your warm welcome to the Coast Guard, the Sea Services, the U.S. Navy, and the Marine Corps to LA for Fleet Week this week. You know, Los Angeles really is a maritime community. We have this tremendously important port right here that we're standing in right here today. And so the Coast Guard is part of this community. We have about 1,000 Coast Guard men and women who live and work here in the greater Los Angeles area. So this Fleet Week is an opportunity for us and them to strengthen our relationship with the Los Angeles community. It's also an opportunity here with all of the sea services present and the emergency and first response communities to sharpen ourselves in earthquake preparedness. We're running through an exercise today to make sure that we can be ready for an earthquake here in the greater Los Angeles area. And we're also looking forward just to having some fun here with the community and meeting the folks here in Los Angeles and Long Beach area. I am really excited to say we do have a Coast Guard cutter that's going to be here part of Fleet Week later on in the week. But tomorrow, we have one of our brand new fast response cutters that was just commissioned a few months ago that is coming back from an extended patrol in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. So that's just another little bit of icing on the cake for Fleet Week. So thanks very much, everybody. Thanks, Mayor.
Great work. Thank you so much. If you live in the LA area, or even if you're visiting and you haven't downloaded the Early Warning Earthquake app, do so. We're the first region, thanks to coordination with the federal government, the United States Geological Survey, and our city, to have an app that alerts you about an earthquake before it comes. Well, if you're at ground zero, you're not going to get any alert, but the further away it is, the more time you have, up to 90 seconds, 2 minutes to get somewhere safe. So for the men and women that are visiting, and those who call Los Angeles home, it was number 4 in the iTunes download store globally recently, so check it out. And we've lowered, because everybody complained that the last earthquakes, they didn't get the notification, because we purposely set it to only when there'd be danger to you, but everybody wants to know so they can brag to their friends even when there's a little bit of a shake. We've just lowered the threshold by half a click on the Richter scale, so please download that. Brevemente también en español yo quiero decir unas palabras. Buenos días a todos y bienvenidos a Battleship Iowa. Como su alcalde y igual como un veterano de reserva naval, la Semana de la Flota es un orgullo para todos los miembros de esta comunidad. Y Los Ángeles tiene mucho orgullo de nuestro servicio, nuestra Armada Naval, los marineros y también en nuestra Guardia Costal. I hope that was right. Thanks for Coast Guard. Y este será una experiencia muy divertida por la familia, por todos los miembros, los veteranos que viven aquí también. Sé que estés dentro de un barco o mirando al mundo por una portilla o sentado en un helicóptero. Esta semana nos abre los ojos a los barcos increíbles y la tecnología que protege nuestras costas. Pero especialmente es una oportunidad a escuchar la historia de un miembro de nuestras fuerzas armadas. Y nos da la oportunidad de conocer a los marineros, los miembros de guardacostas, quienes defienden nuestra libertad y nuestra democracia también. Los miembros del militar y veteranos aquí con nosotros, gracias por su servicio. Y estamos aquí a ayudarte, a asistirte también con nuestros programas de los empleos para los veteranos que son experienciando de indigencia. Estamos aquí para asistirte. Para todos aquí celebrando la Semana de Flota, les deseo una maravillosa y divertida experiencia. So with that, happy to answer any questions from the press or anybody else. Yes?
This is a little off topic.
Okay.
Regarding the homeless report
Yes.
today by the LA Controller,
Yeah.
he claims that the outreach so far has been ineffective.
Right.
$54 million is a 60% increase. Can you address that?
Sure, absolutely. A couple things. One, I'm really glad to read the report from our controller and welcome everybody to this team. As many people know, it's the County of Los Angeles that often have the cures from and the causes into homelessness, but we in the city have stood up a strong leadership role, and our controller has a great role to play in that. I go out with outreach teams almost every week, and I want to first thank them because they probably read a report and feel beat down. They do incredible work. There are a few among us who would go out there in homeless encampments along Los Angeles River and underpasses and actually go and engage with people, and I think they do heroic and amazing work. I go to their trainings, I know who they are. Many of them have lived experience themselves, either being on the street or having struggled with addiction and drug abuse and mental health issues. So first and foremost, I want to thank our outreach teams. Second, any suggestions to improve the efficacy of them and the quickness with which we can get people from the streets into our beds and shelters, I welcome as well. And I think there's some good suggestions that are in there. I enjoyed the report. I spoke to the controller while he was doing it, shared my own experiences as well, because I've been out there and seen places where maybe we can be more proactive instead of just reactive. I think now that we have 800 outreach workers, and 4 years ago we only had 25, we know that's tough to scale up quickly. But, you know, I can say this as a veteran. We know in large organizations you have to put those policies and those procedures, those trainings forward, and I think those 800 angels in the City of Angels are ready to do even better and better work. A lot of that snapshot he took was a year and a half ago, just as they were being hired. So that work now allows us to be able to get out there, and I welcome his voice, I welcome his suggestions. I look forward to helping implement them at the Homeless Services Authority, which is shared between the city and county.
That addresses the housing as well.
Yeah, and on the housing side, the only thing I disagreed in the report that he had was LASA isn't the only agency that houses people. Our Veterans Administration, I just cited that we've housed over 10,000 veterans. That's something that is federal government and local government working together. Of course, that's not in the 21,000, but we have to count that because those are real people. Similarly, we have other agencies that house people. 21,000 is a strong, good number. No city in the country is housing so many people. The reason we went up a little is there's more people going into homelessness, and until people dry up the supply, somebody said the other day, in the city we're kind of like the guys and gals behind the horses in the parade. We didn't cause the waste, but we're scooping it up. You know, we are the ones who are called on to deal with the failures ahead of time, but I'm very pleased with what has now become a national model here in Los Angeles. We need even more resources from our federal and state government. Other questions? Anything about Fleet Week? All right.
I have a question for
Yeah, Gene.
the tariffs, the pending tariffs coming, is it going to affect the Port of LA jobs in any way?
We've been talking about the tariff implications for over 17 months now. And with each milestone that comes up, there creates even more uncertainty in our marketplace. Today, 1 in 9 jobs are supported by this port in the 5-county Southern California region. That's more than 1 million people that go to work every day with the efforts of this port. Less cargo will mean less jobs, fact. And we've said from the beginning that the outcome of this trade war would be threefold. One would be higher prices for the consumers, and we're seeing that partly. The other is that companies would absorb some of these costs, which would limit their capital spending on projects like this port, as well as hiring, and we're seeing that as well. Folks are a little bit pensive right now, not knowing where the next shoe is going to drop. And then thirdly, we would see trade lanes shifting, and we are capitalizing on that. Our growth from Southeast Asia and North Asia are hitting record numbers, while China is waning at this point in time. What we have called for is a negotiated settlement, so we can get on to the important work of what's happening on the technology side as well as intellectual property. That should not affect the supply chain and the people like us that are consumers every day. But we'll be watching this very closely, not only with the September 1 date, but the proposed talks that are coming up and the December 15th date as well. The potential that we see short term is that cargo will be advanced once again, causing a lot of imports. And we've suffered now through 9 consecutive months of declining exports. So counter to what all of this policy was meant to do, the trade gap has widened. And we need to get this set back on track so we can continue to invest in our port communities. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll see you during this weekend. Look forward to it. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
It's just a different version of what you just said.